to ask one other question, Mr. Chairman. Thanks for a little more time here to just ask about the earned income tax credit. It now ranges in fraud or misapplied payments in the amount of $16 to $19 billion. It's 24 to 29% of the entire program. And I think about some of the priorities I have in Congress, helping educate young children through Head Start. We spend $9 billion on that. NIH funding, we spend $31 billion on that. The ability to invest in things that matter to this country by those lost dollars and the impact it has on young children or cancer research, I think is heartbreaking. And it also speaks to the inability of the IRS to solve this problem because it goes on year after year. We've been working on trying to get to the heart of what causes this, and we see that there's a rise in the misapplied payments and the fraud from folks who file on their own, don't file through a preparer, and there are different standards that are applied in those cases. And so I guess my question would be, do you believe that tax filers make, when online self-filing, that those certifications are best designed to prevent fraud and prevent improper payments? Do you have any further suggestions for eliminating improper payments across the board? And what are the consequences for knowingly filing an EITC certification via a paid preparer? Are they the same as falsifying online self-preparation?
Again, sir, I don't recall whether you were here. The instructions for filing the earned income tax credit are extraordinarily complicated. And so obviously if somebody wants to commit we have a voluntary compliance system. So if someone wants to cheat on their taxes, unless you require third-party reporting on everything that anyone earns, people will be able to do so. The key, of course, would be for the IRS to make examples of people who are caught having cheated on any aspect of their tax return. That obviously practically cannot work because of the millions of people involved and the billions of dollars involved. I will say this. For over 20 years, the earned income tax credit has been one of the most abused credits of in the tax system. And while some progress was made at one point, not enough has been done. And the Commissioner knows this, Congress knows this. So again, unless you're going to start arresting people and prosecuting and parading them in front of cameras, I really don't have a definitive answer for you.
Could I make a comment about that? I think that there are multiple sources of error and fraud in the earned income tax credit. And I entered tax practice when the earned income tax credit was enacted, so I sort of feel like we're good buddies from 1975 on. I do think I've wondered about that decline in prepared returns, and I think really there are preparers involved. They're just no longer signing them. And that might go to an IP address thing. Can you find out whether you're getting a number of these returns from one address or going into one bank account? But preparer regulation for this unenrolled population is going to be huge, because if you can deal with, and a preparer strategy, if you can deal with one preparer who's doing bad returns, you're not just going one taxpayer by one taxpayer, you're getting the whole batch of those returns. The other thing is we've made legislative recommendations for changing the statute itself that might help minimize some of the opportunity for fraud. And the third thing that I would say, we have done research that shows that the IRS is actually not auditing the right issue. When they're doing their audits of EITC, they're not auditing the issue that actually our own IRS's own research has shown has the most dollars associated with it. So they're sort of going after the lowest hanging and easiest fruit rather than the area where you might be able to move the dial on improper payments. And those are just three things that I would comment on.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you.